Hi stars, this is my first long-form video that I've ever made. Also the second video that I've ever used my voice in. I don't really like my voice, but I'm trying to, so maybe this will help. This is also kind of a preparation for my next long-form video. I want to make an animated storytime video, which I've never really done before, and I don't really know what I'm doing whatsoever, but we're gonna figure it out as we go, which is pretty much what I do for everything. And the last time I used my voice in my video, the video did really badly, which is completely understandable because I was pretty sick and I sounded like, hi guys, so I promise I don't sound like that. Well, I kind of do. But hopefully not during this, because I've already had to re-record this like 4 times, and I'm probably gonna have to redo it again, because I just don't like my voice, and I don't really think that anybody else would either, but that's okay. Anyway, so basically this is kind of preparing me for the next step, and I'm also making it my goal to hit 1K by the end of the year. So if you want to help me out in that would be amazing. And if you don't like this video, that's fine. I don't usually make content like this anyway, so just give me a shot and check out some of my other videos. But if you do end up liking it, do expect some more like this in the future. If you end up watching to the end of the video, then, I mean, clearly I'm doing something right, so I would really appreciate if you would just subscribe to me. I sound like one of those cringy YouTubers that's like, subscribe for a piece of cake. I promise that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just a semi-small channel, and I say semi because I know in the terms of YouTube I'm definitely like irrelevant entirely, but I do have 413 subs, and that's a lot to me. It's kind of crazy to imagine 400 people coming up to you and being like, wow, I really like what you're doing. So I just wanted to say thank you for all of that. But anyway, let's get on with the video because I've already yapped so much and it's not even to the actual yapping part yet. So I guess I'm just gonna go along with whatever I feel like talking about, because I'm doing this kind of backwards where I'm talking and then writing the script afterwards so that I can put captions, because I think it's really important for long-form videos to have captions put in by the creator. But whenever I watch long-form videos, I like to have the captions on, and typically you have to have it on where YouTube just automatically generates. I really don't like that method because some of the words can get mixed up. It can have incorrect meanings. So people with hearing impairments or learning English, or maybe people want to have captions on like I do, it can get kind of confusing. That's why I'm doing it that way. It is kind of backwards, and I totally understand that. I probably should script this video. I'm not going to, but I probably should because I do tend to go off trail. But I guess I'm just going to talk about what it's like being a smaller YouTube creator. I don't really get upset whenever my videos don't do well. Part of that is the fact that I'm not monetized, and part of that is the fact that I don't really care to be monetized. It would be great, of course, but my plan is never to be a full-time content creator, and it's always going to be like a secondary. It's not really a job. It's more of a hobby that I do. So it's easier for me not to get upset when a video doesn't do well. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that when a video gets like 60 views rather than my average of around 2,000. It is a little bit disheartening, to be honest, especially when that's a video that I thought would do better. But in general, I don't really put a whole lot of effort into my videos, at the very least not compared to people who are trying to do a lot better to get monetized, to sustain their life, to make it a job, because YouTube isn't a job to me at all. And I understand that some people, that's all they want to do. However, for me, it wouldn't be satisfactory enough. I plan to go to college. I plan to to have a full-time career. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm gonna move on from my videos. Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully it doesn't sound like I'm just kind of hating on people who make it a job. Because it can absolutely be a job. Say, writing a book can be a hobby, or writing poetry can be a hobby. It can also be a job. You can be an author, and that's kind of how I feel about YouTube. That being said, I have been making YouTube videos for 2 years-ish. In retrospect, it's not a big accomplishment to have about 400 subscribers. It is whenever you consider the fact that I'm not putting a lot of effort into it. And it's just something I like to do for fun, because I think once you make it a job, it's not fun anymore, you know? Which is why I would not want to do anything creative for a career. I actually plan to go to college for psychology and become a therapist specializing for autistic people. And I think that's like a super niche career. I was gonna say I don't really know why I want that career, but I do. And it's because I, for one thing, on the wait list to get diagnosed for autism for like 2 years already. And with that, I've worked through a lot of like childhood experiences where I didn't realize that the things I were doing, it's directly related to autism. I was being bullied a lot. I didn't understand a lot of what was going on. I had a lot of trouble growing up, but nobody really cared that I was struggling because I was good at school. I did well in my classes. Although I had minimal friends, at times there was nothing I could do. I didn't have any friends. At other times I had like 2 or 3, and a lot of the people didn't like me because I was quote unquote rude. I wasn't trying to be rude, of course. It's just that aura that autistic people tend to give off. It's just like something I would love to be able to do, is help people work through that and understand that it wasn't that you were a bad person or that you deserved it or there was something that you were doing wrong. It was the fact that this is an ableist society. All of those things that you thought you were being rude for were actually just people misinterpreting you. Aren't I just so wise? Sometimes I think about it. Imagine coming home from your intense therapy session and you open up YouTube and you watch a video that your therapist posted. It's just so weird to think about that. I've never had a therapist who was like an influencer, or I mean, I wouldn't call myself an influencer for sure, but a content creator. I did have a teacher who was a content creator, and that was really, really funny. Not necessarily funny in the sense, you know, teachers can't be content creators or anything like that. Just like funny in the sense that you come home from getting lectured all day and your teacher's dancing on TikTok. And in case anyone's wondering, the cat I'm drawing right now is actually my cat. Her name's Lucy, and she has a condition called radial hypoplasia, which is where her legs are curved in like C's because she's missing a bone in her leg, which is really cool. She was actually born with the condition, but she was also born with 2 eyes, and then her eye actually exploded, and so we had to get it removed, obviously. She doesn't have a tail. She's like 4 pounds, I think. Yeah, she's got like every health problem anyone could ever think of, which is pretty unfortunate, but she does get around pretty well. I noticed that I tend to draw my other cat a lot more than any of the rest of my cats, so this was definitely good to shift my favoritism. So it's been a really long time since I actually last worked on this. I'm now doing live streams as well as my regular content. So if you guys haven't checked that out already, I think you definitely should if you like this video, because it's basically the exact same thing, but instead of drawing, I'm mostly doing candy, which is like beaded crafts in a way. Since I've started doing those, I've gained almost 200 subscribers, which is like wow, you know, it's like, how did we get here? But another thing I actually wanted to talk about is my experience being trans. It is Pride Month as I'm recording this. Hopefully I'm able to get this out by the end of the month, but I'm really busy this month. It's literally the busiest month for me all year. But for those of you who don't know, I am trans. I'm a trans man, so I use he, him, and I was originally making a different video, an entire separate video talking about this, and it was going to be like an animated storytime video, but for one thing I'm lazy, and for another thing, my voice recording got deleted somehow, so that's lovely. I love when that happens. But I've been identifying as trans since 6th grade, which I think most people think is too young, which I don't agree with. If I could choose not to be trans, I absolutely would. I don't like it at all. I feel insecure all the time, and there's not a whole lot that I can do about it. And I also totally fucked up my breathing. Like, I can't breathe very well anymore. Which I'm trying to cut out of the video a lot. I can't really help it because I just, like, whenever I take in breaths, it catches on the recording because I breathe so heavily whenever I have to breathe because I'm so bad at it. So anytime I'm taking a breath, I'm trying to like cut off the recording before I actually breathe in. When I was first started binding, I was using sports bras and I would wear them literally all the time. Like, I didn't take them off, and I ended up, the band on it imprinted into my ribs, which presses up against my lungs, which is why my breathing is so bad. And so my breathing sucks, and I used to be really athletic. I just can't anymore, not as well. Although I loved doing this, like, yapping videos, that's basically all I do in my life, is I just talk. But it's really hard for me because it's hard to take in enough breath to actually talk. So basically what I'm trying to say is, if you're ever considering, no, I don't need to safely bind. I'm telling you right now, you absolutely do. Like, that's not even an option not to do. You just follow the rules. And a lot of people seem to think that I'm, like, super interesting because I'm trans. It's not of course it's a big part of my life, but it's not, like, something I tend to bring up a whole lot, you know? My gender identity isn't very important to me, if that makes sense. It is important, but it's not a big topic of conversation, you know? My sexuality, on the other hand, is pretty fluctuating, I would say, in comparison to my gender, because I've not changed my gender identity at all since I've started going as trans. It's pretty consistent, but my sexuality isn't. It's changed quite, I wouldn't say quite a lot over the years, but it's gone back and forth. For a really long time, I didn't realize that airways people were a thing. Like, I didn't think that that was an option. I thought that everyone had to find some, like a lot of attraction to people. And that's not something that I didn't necessarily align with. Now that I realize that I can be comfortable calling myself airways, that's what I do. It's not the only sexuality that I align myself with. I'm actually considering myself airways and pan, because I fall onto the little side of little to no romantic attraction, and whenever I do feel attraction, it's like, I don't care. I know this video wasn't super interesting. I'm not a very interesting person, like I said. If you did like this video for some reason, just check out some of my other videos. But if you didn't, I don't blame you at all. I do have different types of videos, so if you wanted to check those out, feel free. Another thing I wanted to showcase to you guys is the before and after of when I started this video and when I finished this video. Other than that, bye stars.